From The National, this is Trending Middle East. I'm Yasmin Al-Taji. It's Monday, September 15th. Here are today's headlines. Qatar's emergency Arab-Islamic summit is set to kick off today in Doha. That's a response to the surprise Israeli strikes on the Qatari capital last week. Foreign ministers met yesterday ahead of the event. They were set to discuss how to respond to Israel's expansionist actions in the region. The National's AlTaher is in Doha as the summit takes place. Here she is with more.
On Sunday, the foreign ministers gathered to draft a resolution that would be passed at the summit. In the last few months alone, Israel has struck Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, and Iran. And the Gulf now is saying enough is enough, that Qatar is a red line, that now is the time to hold Israel accountable for its crimes against civilians in Palestine and beyond.
5 members of Hamas and a Qatari security force member were killed in the Israeli attack. Qatar called it, quote, state terrorism, unquote. Gulf, Arab, and Western states and the UN Security Council have all condemned the attack, but Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu doubled down. He called on Qatar to expel the Hamas officials residing in Doha or, quote, bring them to justice, unquote. The UAE summoned Israel's ambassador to Abu Dhabi over the attack and Netanyahu's, quote, hostile, unquote, statements. Qatar is a key mediator in negotiations for a ceasefire proposal. It says Hamas officials were there reviewing the latest one when the attack took place.
The attack was the first of its kind, not only because it struck a Gulf state, but also because Qatar is a key U.S. ally and home to the largest American base in the region.
Meanwhile, Israel is stepping up its offensive on Gaza City. At least 41 Palestinians were killed in Israeli attacks across the Gaza Strip on Sunday. That's according to a statement from health officials to the official news agency Wafa. That toll includes 28 people killed in Gaza City. Israeli soldiers over the weekend raided the home of Palestinian activist and Oscar-winning director Basel Adra in the occupied West Bank. That came after a settler attack on his village. Adra told the Associated Press settlers entered a Tuwani on Saturday evening, injuring 2 of his brothers and a cousin. He accompanied them to the hospital, and while there, he said he heard from his family that 9 Israeli soldiers had entered his home.
They were searching in the house. They took the phone of my wife. They called me from the phone. They prevented other family members like my sisters, my father, to be with my wife in the home. They detained them in the street.
Adra has spent most of his career documenting settler violence in Masafir Yatta, in the southern part of the occupied West Bank. A film he co-directed called No Other Land won an Oscar this year for Best Documentary. It depicts the struggle residents face. Israel's military declared Masafir Yatta as a military training zone in the 1980s. That move paved the way for the expulsion of Palestinian residents. Those who stayed face constant raids by the Israeli military to demolish property. The communities also face violence from nearby settlements, which has increased since the start of Israel's war in Gaza. Qatar has sent aid to Syria's southern governorate of Sweida. That's according to an official in Doha who spoke to The National. Qatar now joins Jordan in delivering aid to the mostly Druze area. It's been surrounded by Syrian government troops and allied militia since June. The National's Khaled Yacoub Oweis reports.
A Syrian Red Crescent official told The National that the aid was part of a larger aid consignment by Qatar to the Syrian government. The aid had arrived by plane and by road from Jordan to Damascus, then was distributed to Sweida, but also to Bedouins who were displaced also from Sweida and are in the neighboring province in Daraa.
According to UN figures in August, more than 161,000 people have been displaced internally by the conflict in Sweida. Most of them are Druze, the majority within that governorate.
The United Nations describes the humanitarian situation in Sweida as being in crisis. It says that an open access route to Damascus is crucial for medical cases to reach the Syrian capital.
The crisis has undermined an effort by President Ahmed al-Shara to consolidate power. His forces pushed the regime of Bashar al-Assad out of power in December.
Also, the United Nations says healthcare in Sweida and treatment is hampered by lack of fuel, which makes transportation difficult.
That's all for this morning's headlines. You can get more on these stories and follow our live coverage at thenationalnews.com. Yasmin Al-Taji, The National.